Welcome to This Explainer. All right, today we're diving into literally the most complex, rapidly evolving, and high-stakes geopolitical puzzle in the world right now. We're talking about the multi-front tensions in the Middle East involving the US, Iran, and Israel. We're going to take a structured, direct look at the data, the actual battlefield movements, and the political rhetoric that's driving this entire conflict. So let's jump right in and decode exactly what's happening, both on the ground and behind closed doors in the war rooms.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The brink of war. 2. Kuwait, the active battlefield. 3. Drone versus HIMARS. And 4. The political fallout. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the brink of war. I want you to think about this single number for a second, 40. For practically 40 days straight, this region has been subjected to intense, relentless bombing campaigns by Israel and the United States. And yet, and this is absolutely crucial, despite all this sustained military pressure, Iran has not surrendered. The conflict hasn't ended at all. Instead, it's mutating. The threat of a massive regional war is constantly hovering over us. But the shape of that war, well, it's shifting in ways that are deeply, deeply strategic.
Which brings us to the absolute elephant in the room. I mean, if tensions are this high, and the bombing has been going on for over a month, why on earth hasn't Iran attacked Israel directly? Over the last week, not a single Iranian missile or drone has crossed into Israeli airspace. Let's unravel how this perfectly builds the core of Iran's current playbook.
So, the bottom line is this: it's a very deliberate strategy of denial. According to the analysis, Israel is completely prepared. Their forces are ready, their defenses are up, and they are essentially just waiting for a single Iranian drone or missile to cross the Red Sea. Why? Because that one single strike would give the Israeli government the absolute perfect excuse to tell both their citizens and their American allies, hey, Iran attacked us, thereby justifying a massive, full-scale war. Iran totally knows this, and they're intentionally denying Israel that pretext. It's an incredibly high-stakes game of strategic patience.
Moving right along to Section 2, Kuwait, the active battlefield. Now, notice what is conspicuously missing from these target locations. Yep, Israel. Instead, look at the geographic spread of recent Iranian attacks. They're targeting U.S. air and military bases all across the Gulf. We're talking Kuwait, Bahrain, the UAE, Jordan, and Oman. Iran is basically showing off its reach and its capability to strike heavily defended U.S. installations, like the 5th Fleet Base in Bahrain, despite American air superiority and Patriot defense systems. They are actively choosing proxy battlegrounds over a direct confrontation with Israel. And this brilliantly illustrates the rapid, tit-for-tat escalation that is currently centered right on Kuwait. The action-reaction cycle here is intense. The U.S. military launched missile attacks originating from Kuwait. Well, in direct retaliation, Iran launched a barrage of missiles and drones specifically targeting the American military base in Kuwait, and they successfully hit and destroyed the very missile launch sites used against them. Videos from the area literally show massive fires and huge plumes of smoke rising from the U.S. base. But you know, actions have consequences, and the conflict is threatening to spill over even further. Following these Iranian strikes on 3 different locations within Kuwait, the Kuwaiti Defense Ministry issued a really stark warning. They stated, "Our army is capable of responding." This tells us that Gulf nations are being dragged directly into the crossfire, and we might soon see counterattacks originating not just from the US, but from Middle Eastern nations themselves.
Let's look at Section 3, Asymmetric Warfare, Drone versus HIMARS.
So, during the recent strikes on the Kuwait base, a major piece of American military hardware was totally destroyed, the M270 HIMARS. This is a highly advanced, mobile vehicle-based missile platform. It is an absolute beast. It's heavily armored, weighing over 10,000 kilograms. It boasts a massive strike range of 165 to 300 kilometers, and it can carry a devastating payload of up to 560 kilograms. It's been a reliable, operational powerhouse for the U.S. military since 1991. Make no mistake, this is a premium piece of military technology.
Now contrast that with what actually destroyed it. On one side, you have the US M270 HIMARS system, which costs anywhere from 41 to 50 crores to produce. On the other side, you have the Iranian Shahed drone that literally turned it into ashes. The cost of that drone? A mere 25 lakh. Crazy, right? One is an ultra-expensive, highly sophisticated missile platform. The other is a relatively cheap, disposable, unmanned aerial vehicle.
What you really should take away from this is a harsh reality about modern warfare: the economics of asymmetry. It is incredibly damaging to sustain a war where your adversary uses a 25-lock drone to completely wipe out your 50 crore missile system. The US is suffering significant financial attrition here. Despite having overwhelmingly superior and way more expensive technology, their operational capacity and highly valuable assets are just being steadily degraded by these low-cost Iranian drones and missiles. And finally, Section 4, the political fallout.
This brings us straight to the political rhetoric surrounding the conflict in Washington. Former US President Donald Trump has recently stated, unequivocally, "I am Iran's #1 target." He has made this claim a really prominent part of his messaging, suggesting that the entire focus of Iranian aggression is aimed directly at him. But where exactly is this claim coming from? Let's dig into the source data behind this statement. The context for Trump's assertion stems from recent targeted actions by Iran. According to the reports, following the death of close Trump ally and Senator Lindsey Graham, Iran actually publicly claimed responsibility. Furthermore, they reportedly displayed a hit list containing the photos of 20 individuals, with Senator Graham's picture crossed off. So given his high profile and past actions, Trump argues that he sits right at the very top of this list. However, there are alternative perspectives on the political motivations at play here. Expert J.K. Tripathi argues that framing the war around personal targeting might be missing the broader strategic failure entirely. Tripathi's analysis suggests that the U.S. policy regarding Iran was fundamentally miscalculated and flawed from the very beginning. Furthermore, he posits that American actions have been heavily driven by pressure and influence from Israel, rather than a clear, independent U.S. strategic goal. And because of this, America is paying a heavy, slow-burning price for this engagement.
Which leaves us with this final critical question. We've seen that Iran is strategically withholding a direct attack on Israel, choosing instead to inflict massive asymmetric financial and material damage on US bases in places like Kuwait. Meanwhile, political leaders are completely locked in a rhetorical and strategic stalemate. With these frankly unsustainable economic losses mounting, who is going to blink first? Will Israel force the issue? Will the US just absorb the costs? Or will Iran eventually cross a red line? Thank you so much for joining me for this explanation.